welcome! This is Brownie West Midlife from the Forbidden Library, and today is more Higurashi time. We are getting close to the end. So close we can smell it. Or maybe that's just the curry. I don't know. What's the curry they're making? But anyway, let's see if we can do a little recap. It was getting dramatic, wasn't it? So what we had was Mion's going crazy. Mion's gone crazy a couple times now, but every so often is fine. Keiji and Shion went into a place they weren't supposed to that was full of torture devices. Hello, I need some barbecue sauce. For what? For what? And the other two people they went in with died. They were like, oh no, we're next. And then Shion told the mayor about it, and the mayor went missing. And then Keiji told Rika about it, and Rika went missing. And because Sadako lived with Rika, Sadako's gone missing now too. And Detective, nothing. I don't know if I believe you. It sounds very sus to me. Why would you need barbecue sauce for nothing? Detective Rena even is on the case when it comes to Rika and Sadako though. Because she looked through all their stuff and was like, it doesn't make sense that they just left after school because Rika got, Sadako, one or the other, they got tofu on the way home and they made food and they were like ready to give the food out, but then they covered it because there was a change of plans at the last minute. So someone called them out. We don't know what, we don't know who, we don't know why yet, but Rena is so smart. A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food that she could feed 2 extra people. Yes, so Rika went out potentially to go borrow some soy sauce from someone and maybe stayed at their house, and then when Satoko called around to find out where Rika was, she also got invited to said place. Could it have just been a coincidence that they made too much? It's still unthinkable. Rena flatly denied me. She'd know better. Rena's the cook here. We listen to her. Since Rika-chan knew that, Satoko-chan had worked really hard to make dinner for them, didn't she? No matter what kind of food she was offered, she wouldn't let Satoko-chan's dinner go to waste. Oh wait, I just realized that I'm still... Sorry, I forgot I hadn't zoomed out yet. I was too busy just going. I just wanted to go. This was all only circumstantial evidence and Rena's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple the situation bereft of clues. Then Rena, where did Rika-chan go to get soy sauce? That was the heart of it. It could have been somewhere she'd be comfortable asking for soy sauce. And somewhere Satoko wouldn't think it's suspicious that she'd been invited for dinner. I was about to... Howdy, Crusader! Your art's been getting better and better on the Discord. Well done, by the way. I just realized I'm floating a little bit. I need to come back down to earth. There we go. Very important. Can't have me head in the clouds too high. So who was it? Morning, soothing spooks. What a soothing spook. Good morning, Brainy-san. Sorry I've been away for a bit. Hope all's been well. No worries. I'm always here when you need me. And you don't have to worry about seeing everything. It's all good. Happy to have you. Welcome back. Chibi Brian is ascending to godhood. I'll need to protect myself. I should mention, for those who like to mess with this chibi, there are some chibi-specific toggles in the channel points on Twitch. Just so you're aware. You don't have to watch Twitch. I now no longer have to push you to do that. But, because we do have affiliate now. But, yeah. Channel points are there for fun now. So who was it? Rena slowly shook her head. That's all for Rena's guesses. These are just ideas, okay? Keep them a secret from the police. What's there to hide? Even if only half of what you say is right, it could be a good clue for all of this. Keiji-kun. This all means suspecting someone from Hinamizawa. We can't suspect anyone without really good reason. I saw a few girls coming over to rinse their bento boxes. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Let's think about this, in my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, and yet she reasoned out that much. So there should be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Oshi-san said last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring in Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. Who done it? The trigger for everything was when the four of us trespassed in the forbidden storehouse. Somebody saw us going in there. For the culprits, breaking the taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake-san and Takano-san sacrificed. There were two left. Shion and myself. However, before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. They next went for Rika, to whom I'd confessed my sin. Then, what about Satoko? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I told her everything was mortifying. But Satoko, who was sacrificed for no reason? Wasn't that all the more regrettable? Everything was my fault. You can suspect people, but that does not equal accusing them. That's true. Who would be the next to disappear? Would it be Shion and me next time? Why? Why weren't the culprits going for Shion and me right away, though? If they had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? If they went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those we confessed to. Now that I think of it, yesterday Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I had never once had that impression. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me, and I was just careless. That's another story though. Let's get back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt like that's where the key to this lay. Could it be... Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't be? I thought and thought, but I couldn't come up with an answer. One thing I understood was that I was a concerned party in this case, and I had a duty to watch over it until everything got resolved. Is he making a big assumption? Because Oshi's under the impression that it's the head of the houses that are being targeted. Because obviously the mayor was the head of one of the three houses. Rika's the head of one of the three houses. So it may not have much to do with Shion and Keiji's breaking and entering as they think. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of lunch break. Would somebody else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, then I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure. And put an end to all this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to mind. They planned to murder those closest to us first, make us miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us. I love they assume that, and like, Keiji doesn't even think about his parents. Kill the person closest to us. He thinks about his friends, not his parents. Kind of sad that his parents aren't closest to. Exactly! He's a kid. His parents should still be a pretty big part of his life. But no, they are barely a thought. Mayabara-kun, the lunch break is over. Go back to the classroom. At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which was quiet as the streets at night. I suppose that's somewhat normal for a teenager to think that way, though. Ah, yeah, I guess. Teenagers take their parents for granted at that age, so... There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school. It was just like a kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left the school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left, then another, and in the end it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but she declined. Will you be alright? It's not safe to go alone. Here, take this! Hand's sword. Hand's hatchet. Hatchet. She's not a sword user, she's a hatchet user. It would be as dangerous for you to come home by yourself after bringing me back, Keiji-kun. It's still light out anyway. I'll be fine. I see. Then be careful, okay? Yeah. Huh? Isn't that a policeman? Rena pointed towards my house. Fucking Hoshi. There was a car stopped in front of it. From out of that car came Hoshi-san. He must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Hoshi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin. Piss off, old man! Rena, you should go. If you get involved with him, you'll be here for hours. But... What did the police want with you? With you? Why is she blushing about this? Rena's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she still didn't ask me anything. She didn't try to pressure me into revealing the truth. She uses a Japanese hatchet called a nata. It's a different shape and such tool and such too. They're cool. They are cool, and she's cool. Why would she suspect Keiji? Because Keiji, after Rika went missing, started crying and saying it's all his fault. So that's why she may suspect him. I know that. That said, I can't say that I'm totally uninvolved with this incident. Rena simply listened, smiling like she always did. Nata is a coconut food product here, so I'm just imagining her bashing people with coconuts. I mean, she'd be deadly with a coconut as well, let's face it. She could kill someone with a coconut. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something dirty. I'll tell you next time. Okay! I'm looking forward to it. Get going then. Bye, Rena. She gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Hoshi-san, who walked over. Hi, old fart. How you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome home, Mayabara-san. Fuck off. Let me go home. I just got home from school, asshole. Let me get my shoes off and have a cup of tea. Looks like your parents aren't here. He's probably safer now, she said. He probably is, but... I don't know, I'd be so mad if I just walked home from school and there was a policeman here. My, I was just in a bit of a spot. Speaking of tea, I'm gonna go make some tea. Yes, go make some tea. It's very important. He came all the way to my house. I could only thank my good fortune that my parents were absent. He's so much more threatening in this route than he was in the first one. Like, he is so determined to get info out of Keiji. Like, he's genuinely very intimidating. Since neither of them are around at this hour, they would probably be back late. I think Dad got called out on business. I don't think he'll be back until later. Don't tell him that! Oh well, my dad's probably just in the workshop. I'm gonna go in. Bye! Keiji, you need to work on your escape routes, pal. He upped the menace factor, he really did. He gets even more aggressive in the next arc, if I remember correctly as well. Oh lordy. He was he was a bro in the first one, and now he's like, I'm genuinely very threatened by his presence. But I guess, again, this is kind of the beauty of Higurashi. And, like I said, we spent hours with this man on our side, and now I'm threatened by him. It's great. If you can flip your ideas of characters so easily. Keiji's great at letting people know he's not safe. Yeah, he did that in the first one as well, didn't he? Where he was like trying to be like, yes, my parents are totally home. And Renner and Mion were like, no, they're not, bitch. You're stupid. Well, I see. Well, that's convenient, I suppose. We can do this without giving your parents any strange ideas. Oshi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. It seemed like he wanted me to get in the car. Don't get in the car with strange policemen! Keiji! Are you taking me to the police station? I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. Me when I say very suspicious sentences. Keiji do sucks at lying. He sucks at lying. Correct. Keiji's never heard of a sense of danger. He does have AC in the car, to be fair. Come in, kids, I've got AC! It wouldn't be weird if he wanted to investigate me. That kind of gave me a resigned feeling. Oh no, I just don't want to stand around talking. We just talk in the car, that's all. Come on now, don't be shy. I'm not taking you away or anything. You're not gonna disappear now. Totally not. He opened the back door and urged me inside. I got in. I wouldn't have a very easy time. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man might really handcuff me and take me away. I couldn't refuse. I could only accept in good grace. Could you though? Keiji never heard of strange danger. I know! He could just run into his house and lock the door, and then, like, if Oshi really called for backup, he'd have to say, yeah, I menaced a child into running into their own house because they're scared of me. How the fuck would he explain that? Hilarious. Anyway. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioner, and there was a rusty smell coming from the filter, which must have been cleaned only rarely. Oh, is it too cold? I'll turn the car off. He turned off the engine and suddenly it became quiet. The voices of the Higurashi, with all their cool loneliness, snuck inside. Quack, 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 quack. Is that really like how we alphabetize that sound? Quack, 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 quack. He does have AC, worth it. It sounds to me like the chorus of voices lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. I love this. Again, this kind of happened in the first route, doesn't it? Where he starts like finding meaning in the Higurashi noises. It's so funny. For a few moments, while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since last night. Oshi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin talking, lit a cigarette and listened to the Higurashi. Those are just insects, KG. No, they are prophets. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who folded first. How's the investigation going? Stop waxing poetically. He's a creative boy, okay? He's got creative thoughts. The investigation? Of what? There've been so many. Which do you mean? All of them. Well, alright then. They're officially secret investigations, and we're under a media blackout, but I'll let you in on them. Then, shall we start from the first incident? The freak deaths of Tomitake-san and Takano-san on the night of Wataganashi. On this one, embarrassingly enough, we haven't made any progress at all. First of all, Tomitake-san, there are indications on his body that he was assaulted by a group of people, but we have no explanation for him clawing out his own throat and dying. Arc 1, the creative thoughts arc. We suspect an overdose from a stimulant or something, but we didn't detect anything. What about Takano-san? The same, we're in the dark. Autopsies from those who are burned to death are real tough. We believe she was dosed in gasoline after she was strangled. That one falls under the Gifu Prefecture's police department. They haven't been very cooperative, even though it happened in our territory. Oh, that's not really relevant though. Police politics. Amatel, this mentally wrecked teenager whose friend just went missing. This super traumatic stuff got going on. Oh, she sounds very good at traumatizing teenagers. He always does this. He does. He's so desperate for... It makes a lot of sense for his character, though, because he's so... It's established in the first arc that he's like, this is the last chance he will have to prove any kind of connection between the cases on Wataganashi nights. So he is like so desperate for information and desperate to get that he's willing to just fuck up this child. He's determined. He is. Terribly so. I think he just enjoys tormenting children. No, that's just a side effect, definitely. So the police don't know anything other than the fact the victims died inexplicably. Nonetheless, the times when the incidents occurs have been generally placed right after the festival ended. It's a bit uncertain in Takano's case, but the likely prospect is that she was murdered about the same time as Tomitake-san, then dumped in the mountains of Gifu. Why would they bring a dead body all the way to the mountains? They should have just brought Tomitake-san out there too. Oh my, Mada-san, you're quite sharp, you know that? Of course, I do believe that is something we need to be attentive of. There are a bunch of other superstitious things, but this is about all I can tell you at this point. Suspicious, not superstitious, but it is superstitious too. Keiji has to die. That's a sacrifice Oshi is willing to make. He really is. He wants to get his white whale, and he does not care if this child dies in the process. How about the mayor? Have there been any clues? Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, he might turn the conversation on me. We investigated his movements on the day he disappeared. We didn't find anything that could provide any clues, but I'll tell you about it anyway. The mayor, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Apparently, he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. People who live a long time have an unusual amount of pride, so the mayor hadn't been telling anyone that he was going to a proctologist at a certain university hospital in Shishibon. On the day he disappeared, he had an appointment for a checkup, so he went out first thing in the morning. Even I knew that big hospitals, like university hospitals, had a really long waiting time. Apparently people would get in line hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment. His exam ended at 1 p.m. After that, he ate a light meal in the hospital restaurant and passed the time reading a magazine. We know this because of a receipt we found in his wallet at his house. There was nothing suspicious about that. That day, he had planned to go to a meeting in the assembly hall in the evening. He was supposed to return home with plenty of time to spare, but while he was on the train coming back, there was an accident. It seems it delayed him, and he got back to his house right before the meeting was scheduled to start. His family witnessed a very hectic mayor leaving to go to the assembly hall at the shrine. What was the meeting about? He disappeared on the way back home, right? The three families and the essential members of the town assembly were at the meeting. We think they were discussing how to deal with the serial freak death incidents that happened again this year. So then, on his way home, the old man who had treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart. Huh? What's the matter? I was taken aback by how strange my own voice sounded. What was it that surprised me? What was it that just surprised me? I squeezed my head with my hands to try drag back out what I had realized for a second. Remember, Keiji Mayabara, you just realized something important. The night of Wataganashi. That was when everything started. That night, Takano-san and Tomitaki-san died. The next morning, the word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. He got a checkup at the hospital. He ate something. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. I know what he's realised here. He's realised that Shion's had no time to actually talk to him. So, did Shion really tell him about what happened? When did Shion manage to do that? When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall at the shrine as fast as he could. From when he heard about the incident to the night of Wataganashi until when he showed up at the assembly hall, everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone. He ate alone. And he got on the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. You couldn't have even called him on the phone. Because we didn't have mobiles back then. Okay, but what does that mean? Keiji! Keiji, come on. Keiji. Keiji, come on. Why does that matter? Keiji Mayabara realize. There we go. Ah, he's got it. He's got it. How can Shion have spoke to him? Kei-chan, what should I do? Hello to Polar Wolf, welcome. Japan having a train delay, yeah, that is unexpected. Died of his hemorrhoids. What's wrong? Tell me. We're not keeping secrets from each other, right? Old man Kimiyoshi. I told him everything. I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything. That night, I told the mayor we snuck into the ritual storehouse. Also that someone saw us and was out to get us. Keiji's brain cells working triple overtime. I know, they take so long to catch up. Right. What then? Old man Kimiyoshi didn't get angry. He smiled and told me that if I was properly sorry about it, there was no way I'd be demoned away. Over here, if you factor in about 1 hour of delays, you might just make it here on time. Yeah. If you're going like really long distances here, definitely. Like I had to travel to London once for work, and oh lordy, I never like traveling to London. It's awful. He was really smiling, and he told me to leave it to him. That single brain scales going Super Saiyan, yes! Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to my nose and fell. So then, what does it mean? You know what it means! Shion, either Shion is having some hallucinations, or straight up lying. One of the two. We're going for 3 hours today, normal size Phantom. You've got time to go home. Take your time. But if you're having to switch trains anytime through the ride, may God have mercy on your wayward soul. Hey, Keiji Maibata, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? Shion said that she learned of the incident from a phone call her father made that morning. Yeah, we do 3-hour streams on Fridays now. I have leveled up. Shion is sus. Shion is sus. Oh, thank you for following. I can't see your full name. Smiling God, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for getting us to 80 follows on Twitch. Whoop whoop. That's my goal. I got a headpads. Yay! Thank you. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anybody where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed to the assembly hall. Then a meeting at the assembly hall had begun, and continued until it was dark out. Then everybody left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Which meant... You're on YouTube chat, so I won't chat here, but I wanted to follow long chibi dev. Yay! Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry, just gotta check something real quick. Mayabata-san. Are you alright? If you're too hot, I can turn the air conditioner on. Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I didn't think any further on that. My head was pounding violently, and the fluids packed inside it all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer able to retain its shape. Mayabata-san? Are you in there? Yeah. Oshi-san lit yet another cigarette. The chibi will gracefully permit you to leave now that she is acquired affiliate. Yes. Yes. No one has to be in Twitch jail anymore unless they choose to be. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had my thoughts been frozen over that long? I've tried to tell you everything I know. In return, feel free to tell me anything you want, Mayabara-san. My mind had become a gigantic, oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender. I couldn't think. Now, don't clam up again. If there are any misunderstandings, I'd like to clear them up first. I don't think you're the culprit here or anything. Oshi-san gave his best attempt at an adult smile. I know the four of you snuck in the ritual storehouse that night. Everyone in the village heard rumors about it the next day. That in itself means that we should take you in for trespassing, but that isn't the problem. It's what's inside. What's inside that made people who snuck in there end up as sacrifices. There wasn't anything. As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter anymore. Was there really nothing there? I mean, everyone who went in is being sacrificed one by one, you know. Even the mayor and Rika-chan who switched the lock on the door were sacrificed. What's inside could have caused such terrible things to happen. I was far too tired of keeping quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oshi-san's goal all along, but again, what did it matter anymore? You like your jail. The jail has all your funny text pictures. There was just a lot of torture devices that were used a long time ago. I looked around at them with everyone. Was that really all? That was really all. There was nothing terrible in there that would make you keep silent. Like a pile of psychoactive drugs. Maybe a secret poppy workshop? Perhaps there was mountains of Soviet or Chinese handguns. There weren't any suspicious wooden boxes or containers packed in there. There was nothing as exaggerated as what Oshi-san was hoping for, but I felt like, in a way, there was plenty of terrible things hidden in there. Is Rika missing, or did you confirm her dead? Currently, she is just missing. We have not seen a body. She's only missing. Because he said sacrificed, and last I remember, she was just missing, yeah. Rika, Satoko, and the mayor are just missing. The only ones we have bodies for are Tomitake-san and Takano-san. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I thought I had seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke the taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened. We put in a request for a search warrant, thinking that there might have been some secrets hidden in that storehouse. It's been the sabotage of the century. They said it would be an insult to religious figures, and something about the right to free religion in the Constitution. Jeez. That's why I really didn't have any other recourse but to ask you, since you went in there. There really was just old, rusty, dusty torture equipment. Nothing else stood out. Then Tomitake-san and Takano-san were only killed as punishment for having broken a taboo. I didn't have an answer for the only part. I suppose I won't bother hiding it anymore. You're the only one to escape harm so far. What happened to Shion? Everyone but you has disappeared. Yet you alone are safe. What's the difference between you and them? That would protect you but bring harm to others. That's what I want to know. There was something wrong with what Oshi-san was saying. You alone. You alone. What? Wait a second. What do you mean, you alone? I'm saying that you alone have been left alive, right? Out of the 4 people who tiptoed into the storehouse for ritual implements, I mean. Oh, thank you for the well, congrats on becoming a new member, Soothing. Yay! Welcome to being a bookworm. That means you can get in on there's a free, if you go into the community tab, there's a free book for you in the community tab. You can scroll down and there will be a thingy. A coupon code you can use on my website. That's what I'm trying to say. Only 1 left alive? Hold on. He's trying to get you to say who the extra person was and admit it was Shion. Shion was still. Tomatake-san and Mio-san died last night. And Shion Sonosaki disappeared the next day. Wait, what? No problem! It was free to all members and Patreon. So just make sure you have a look at some of the members' posts on the thingy. You can also watch the VODs of the exclusive streams too. Only you are still safe and sound at this point. Why? Only you. I'm saying that's what I want to know. Shion disappeared? That's impossible. I unintentionally raised my voice, but I didn't care about that. Tomatake-san died. Takano-san died. And Shion disappeared. When did she disappear? What is this guy talking about? Oh, well now. I thought you were long since aware of this. This is the first I've heard of it. Shion disappeared. When? Well, going back a bit, she disappeared the day after Wataganashi. So who's been phoning me? Has it been Mion phoning me the whole time? Going back a bit? Stop saying stuff I don't understand. Shion Sonosaki spent the night at relative's house, depending on her mood, on any given day, so no one thought much of not knowing where she was. She frequently takes days off from school, too. Her teacher had been pretty troubled by it. I didn't ask you about any of that. I'm asking you when Shion disappeared. I told you it was the day after Wataganashi. But we've been on the phone to her. Mion did a funny. Maybe Mion did do a funny. The fluids in my body all reversed direction. I lost my sense of balance, and everything I could see started to warp and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared? Then, that night, that phone call, who was that? She called me every night. She encouraged me. We vowed that we'd do our best to live on and not be erased. Harshine, welcome. Yes, that should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. She took breaks from class like it was nothing, and her family wouldn't listen. I'm sorry, that's Ohoshi-san, and I forgot to do the voice. She took breaks from class like it was nothing, and her family wouldn't listen when the school told them, so they mostly didn't bother calling anymore. So it ended up taking quite a while before we realized she disappeared. I felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. I started on my back and began to spread through the rest of me. When it had completely covered the surface of my skin, it began to worm its way inside my stomach as well. My friend told me that if I join lives that aren't popular, I'll meet nice, not racist people. Well, I would like to think I'm nice and not racist, so and I haven't had any racist issues with my community so far, and if we do, we kick them out. So, yes, I would like this to be a very safe space in these kind of ways. So. Welcome, I hope you find nice people. Sorry, KG, I used the anime boy voice. Don't you remember? We talked at the library the day after the Wataganashi. Shion was there then. That was the last we saw of her. Onyo. Onyo, 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 onyo. Speaking of needles, I remember that one scene in the first arc making me paranoid about food for a while. Yeah, that's fair. Yes, Howdy Crusader, be careful on those jokes. Be careful, be careful. No, Harshine, I don't think Jake's referring to you. Don't you worry. Oh wait, no, sorry. I completely misunderstood what you said. Yes, thank you for coming! I appreciate it! Hopefully see you around some other time. No one knows where she's been since. That can't be. That day, Oshi-san had only caught me and Shion bounded away, lying that she needed to go to work. Didn't she call me that night? Her job was at the restaurant called Angel Malt, right? She hadn't been there since that day. She's been completely absent ever since. The person at the restaurant couldn't get in touch. The person at the restaurant couldn't get in touch with her. He was really worried. That can't be. Never mind, you'll stay? Yeah! It can't be. It's only circumstantial evidence, but after she left us the library, but before she made it to work, I think it's appropriate to consider her having disappeared during that time. If only there was someone who had the same voice as Shion, and has not been seen with her for a while. Who else could it be? I know. It's Mion. Mion's gone crazy. Or has Shion replaced Mion? Or has it been Shion the whole time? I don't know. Oh, you already have to go. That's okay, Harsha. You can always catch another stream. You eat needles all the time and you're fine. You should probably get your stomach checked out, normal size phantom. It seems you don't know. Maybe if you had said something earlier, this would have gone more quickly. Now you understand, right? You're the only one left. You're the only survivor of the 4 who slipped into the ritual storehouse. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. If something else happens, it would happen to you. I need you to understand that, Mayabata-san. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. Shion had already disappeared? That couldn't be! I talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. That was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. It was from Shion. Shion had long since disappeared. Next will be you. Then who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? It can't be! Poor guy, he's freaking out. Freaking out! Maybe the murder spree was the friends who made along the way. It's pretty slow on the uptake sometimes, sweet kid. He is, and it knocks him on his ass. Harsha, good luck with your homework. Have fun. Maths is great. I liked maths homework in school. I don't like it as much now. I don't have it now, but I don't like maths as much now. He just burnt his brain cells with the Maya deductions. They need to cool down. We need to, get some water down his ears. or steam's gonna start coming out. I lay down on the couch and stay there in a daze for a while. World's greatest detective, KG over here. He really is. He's not the brightest bulb. He does not own the brain cell in their little group, and he never will. He has a cooldown period on speculation. My mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. There was a note in my house saying that Mum and Dad would be home late and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. Spray bottle the brownie. Water cooling! He needs this. He needs water cooling, that's for sure. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite. So I just stared blankly at the ceiling without even eating anything. I mean, he's a child, so he is a child, but he's a very dumb child. The hands of the clock were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared? Would she still call me? Where were they calling from? And who were they? The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. Even though about just I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I had been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. Hold on, Keiji Mayabara. Oishi-san admitted it himself, didn't he? The Shion went missing a lot. Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Oishi-san didn't know about and have been there ever since? Shion and I were both targeted by somebody, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere she usually didn't in order to hide. That must have been why Oishi-san couldn't locate her, and why he labelled her as a disappearance. Yeah, that had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all. Then, my right hand moved of its own volition and slapped me on the cheek. Its cold sting let me calm down a little. Don't just convince yourself of the most convincing possibility, Keiji Mayabara. Hi, jokester, welcome. I'm very sorry that some of those buttons you pressed haven't worked, Polar Wolf. I think I forgot to open a thingamajig, so let me just open a thingamajig. I'm still these channel points are still new. I'm still figuring out what has to be put, but I can see you did head pat and cat ears, so I'll put them on for you now. Once I have the thing open that does the thing. Give it a second. Hello. Let me go to that one. And you did head pat. Go. Why did that not work? One second. Okay, homo. I forgot about my tea again because of your stream. Ha ha ha! You should drink tea that tastes good cold. That's what I've got at the moment. So, I'm trying to figure this out. If I do this, does this work? Okay, so the cat ears work. Head pat might not be working so much right now, and I don't know why. But I still appreciate that you pressed the head pat button. I will figure it out at some point. I knew I didn't want to admit she'd disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? That seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do. Still, don't run from this, Keiji. You got this, Keiji. Try asking her a question that only she knows. If the person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion, then that gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say and fend her off. I would tear the skin off the monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. She wouldn't tell you if she was. I know, but you could, like, mention something that maybe happened only between Keiji and Shion that Mion wasn't there for, and you'd be able to, like, figure it out from there, maybe, hopefully, we pray. Unlimited Blade Books. I may only have heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. I love how he just conveniently forgets, you know, the twins! He is such a dummy. Such a dummy. Maybe call the others if they've seen Shion-san first, Keiji. Like Rena. That's true. That would be a good option. But to be fair, Rena had never met Shion until... That was definitely Shion's voice. It just sounded like her. It could have only been Shion. No, it couldn't. Keiji. There we go. There was someone there, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. You be lurking for now, gotta finish up some things in your Minecraft world. Well, have a lovely time Minecrafting, and I hope I am a wonderful background noise for you. Mion. Who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse and how she shook the ladder while spouting curses. Who else? Who else could have? Why though? Why would Mion? Brain cells started to cool down. Yeah, he's on his next round of deduction. Knowing Keiji, he'll just be, hey girl, how about them murders you been doing? I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family that I heard from Aoshi-san and Shion. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she was omnipotent. Some of that information included things that Shion had told me after she disappeared. I madly scratched at my head. Courage, give me courage. Just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone, knowing it would ring tonight. It would be so easy to run away. You are, since I'm making a second room for a villager farm, while water is near the building area. Oh, lordy. Have fun. Knowing Keiji, who... Yeah. If Keiji wants to confirm something, just say a completely false story, and if Fakion agrees it happened, then that's confirmation. Exactly. There's ways he can do this without straight up asking her. That, though, would be the same as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. You've been on it for 3 hours because side quests. Well, starting now. You? You're here! It's you! Hello, if you're reading this, I hope you have a good day / evening. Anyways, I gotta sleep. Have a nice week, everyone. You too, you! Have a good day, you! You see, Keiji isn't the brightest when it's brain things. He's really not. I was sure Shion would use tricky words to try trap me. Be careful, be careful. If Keiji makes it out of this without a serious drinking habit, he'll be lucky. He will. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Hello, Kafka. Welcome. Here she is. They're not Mion. They're not Shion. At that point, it rang. The phone rang. I didn't know where the call was coming from. Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Wataganashi. Yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing happened. It's fake Eon. That kinda sounds like a fake Eevee evolution. Does that make Shion and me on Eevee evolutions? Brian. Now again, tonight. The people that had disappeared, their corpses similarly haven't been found. I really didn't think they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, then did that mean she was calling me from another world? Of course that couldn't be. A living being was calling me pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, as though she were alive and well, the phone continued its incessant ringing. I didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. I had to. I had just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. Then, what would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion who asked who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend to still be fooled and try to grab her by the tail? That would probably be the safest thing to do. What I was most afraid of was that the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right? The phone ringing is so unnerving for some reason, because this is an unnerving scene. If I just make sure to be careful, that should be the safest option. I've made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing happened. That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomitake-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know. Too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, KG. Pick it up, KG. Hello? Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion. Ah, Keiji-chan, it's me. It's Shion. My momentary, convenient, and all above fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help but shaking at this point. Get ready for this. You took a long time to pick up. I thought you weren't home, and I was about to hang up. Ah, sorry. I was just in the middle of a bath. Did your family not pick up for you? Could your parents be out right now, Kei-chan? This poor boy! His family needs to stop leaving him alone. I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information that I was currently the only one at my house. Well, no, they're not really. Anyway, have you heard about Rika-chan and Satoko? No. What happened after that? Were they found? Nah, they weren't found. Kei-chan, please don't lose hope. If Oishi-san hadn't let me know, then I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect a Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear. Rika-chan and Satoko, they were kidnapped, weren't they? Yes. I don't think there's much doubt. Just how cruel a grave meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me, and then a moment later, I was overcome with numbness and felt like I would pass out. I asked if Rika-chan and Satoko had been kidnapped. Shion, in turn, answered that there wasn't much doubt. That cruel meaning behind her words. Rika-chan and Satoko were... no, I mean, I'm sorry. About the mayor, what do you think happened after he was kidnapped? Do you think he's still alive? What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question a terrifying response in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that. So I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however, I talked about the mayor. I think he was killed. Hey, wait, that was quick. I think it must have been really hard to kidnap someone and keep them alive like they are. As long as they're not hostages, it would be most practical to kill them once they're done with them. The world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and around like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly? Kill them so readily? I mean, what's a human life or two anyway? It's a horrible thing, but I think that's probably what happened. If the maid was killed, then didn't that mean the same happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? No, that couldn't be. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Satoko. They couldn't kill them so readily. It's probably better to think that Rika-chan and Satoko-chan ended up the same way. Why does it sound like Zelda music? What the fuck? Music playing as Kid has a mental breakdown is a bop. Apparently. I feel like I need to go get a sword and fight a boss right now. I was about to ask the same thing. It's so weird. There's a theme. It is. This is a Zelda music and you can't convince me otherwise. Those were the words I wanted to hear the least. And I fought them back with a scream of my own. Even though it wouldn't change anything, I still couldn't help but scream. Ah! This time the tears flowed. I'd been confronted with the most horrific outcome that I'd been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. Kinda Earth-based Pokemon battle theme mixed to me. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Satoko. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart. I confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. When Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes, if only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet I still cried. And cried. Kei-chan, please just try and calm down. Keiji, you need more mental breakdowns if you get bangers like this. Rika-chan and Satoko, they've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal the punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it. What are you going to gain by doing that? They're definitely going to target you and me next. Please, I'm asking you to get a hold of yourself. Please! Please! Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in their eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. Buddy, blaming the frickin' village, not yourself. Exactly! He shouldn't be blaming himself. He just went in a house. Everyone else had the bad reaction to it. This is tragic, but boss music goes on. Me and the boy is out at 4 AM breaking a poor man's mind for the next banger. This Shion killed them. I had no doubts that this person killed them. Why? 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 Why kidnap someone then kill them? Screw curses. Are people's lives really that cheap? Erasing them and killing them without a second thought like this? You're right. You're absolutely right. It would take a demon. I felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long? Did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was magma in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like it was going to erupt at any moment. Hey Shion, please tell me, why did Hinamizawa start needing someone to die on the night of Wataganashi? That's what I'd like to know. The fighting over the dam project is already over and done with. Haven't enough people been crushed already? Why is it... Why? If there's a reason, then say it now! I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. Pokemon Ghost Town time. Maybe that's what Fakeon wants all along. Mental breakdown bangers from Keiji. Ah, I see. That was the Keikaku the entire time. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying. I understand how you feel, Kei-chan. I really do. The dam wars ended a long time ago. Yet murders and disappearances keep happening every year under the guise of Onyashiro-sama's curse. Why? Why is it happening? Some of them had nothing to do with this, and some of them didn't deserve to be cursed, so why? Why? That's what I'm asking you! I want to know that as much as anyone! Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone. Listen, Onyashiro-sama's curse never existed. It's too unrealistic. Just like you said, someone in the village is using the grand name of Onyashiro-sama's curse as a justification for continuing these murders and disappearances every Wataganashi. They were cunning. They've been using the curse as a convenient tool and made a system where they would get rid of 2 enemies in the village every year. And this year, that system killed Takano-san and Tomitaki-san. Then why wasn't that enough? Why did the mayor and Rika-chan and Satoko have to get killed too? I don't give a shit about the past. The only thing I care about is why Rika-chan and Satoko needed to be killed. Why is that? I didn't say a word to Satoko, you know. Why even her? Why? A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while. Kei-chan, please, stop being mean. Crocodile tears. A sob. Was Shion crying? I don't have any idea what's going on either. Everything changed when we went into the ritual storehouse that night. It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding. When I heard Takano-san and Tomitaki-san had been killed that night, I doubted my ears. Me when I know exactly what's going on. Then I realized it instantly.
I realized what sort of position I was in now. The four of us snuck in there. Kei-chan, you and I won't be so conveniently forgiven. When I thought about it, it made my chest so tight. It was so terrifying. You know that feeling, Kei-chan, don't you? There's nothing fake about her words. She'd even understood how I felt. That's why I confessed everything to Old Man Kimiyoshi. All of us entered the forbidden storehouse. It was just a little bit of fun. We knew we shouldn't have done it, but it really had just been for fun. It was only a bit of exploration. That was all. Takano-san and Tomitake-san, who went in with us, were killed shortly afterwards. They met such miserable ends. Since that day, I've been living in fear of when I would be attacked. There was nobody except Old Man Kimiyoshi who would help me, so I asked him to save me. Old Man Kimiyoshi, he wasn't mad. He smiled and said, "If you're really sorry, Shion-chan, then you'd never be demoned away." He really did. He smiled at me and told me to leave it to him. Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved Maya's death. The lies, the lies. You've seen some out-of-context spoilers, so I'm more on edge. I have seen the anime. I should know more, but it was so long ago I forgot, so I'm not sure. Well, she's definitely lying about Kimiyoshi. There was no time, physically no time for her to talk to Kimiyoshi. So she's 100% lying about that. Bonk the fake Shion, bonk the fake Shion. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, I did let my emotions take over and go off at her. As a longtime fan, it's really cool to see how you guys react to it is, it's fun, isn't it? Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self, deep within my mind, whispered to me, "Don't forget Keiji Mayabara. Don't forget about the mayor on the morning of Wataganashi." On the morning after Wataganashi. He was told of Takano-san and Tomitake-san's death over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to a hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He'd only made it back in time for the meeting. He was straight into the assembly hall. That's what Aoshi-san said. When did you let the mayor know? Huh? I'm sorry, Shion. It must seem like I'm kicking you while you're down, but... Shion, you told him, right? You told Old Man Kimiyoshi, the mayor? Yeah. When did you let him know? Eh? I like Inakeiji. He has the brain cells. He still rarely has the brain cells, though. I'd begun to get scared of saying it out loud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, then I wanted Shion to explain it to me. Did you know that the mayor had a severe case of hemorrhoids and had gone to the hospital for treatment? Kei-chan? What does that have to... Please answer me. If you didn't know, then just say so. There was a momentary silence. Then after stammering a few times, she replied, I knew that. He had hemorrhoids. It looked like he was sitting down. The sitting down was hard for him. He was going to the hospital. You know which hospital, right? I'm sorry, I don't know that much, but Kei-chan, what does it have to do with...
Shion didn't know about the hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know about his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for her to contact him, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed, and he only got back right before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the beans. I want to ask you straight. Shion, when did you tell the mayor about everything? When and where? Your answer doesn't have to be precise, but please give me one.
Kei-chan, why are you asking about that?
Her sob pierced into my ears. He should share it down at KG sometimes. Dear God, what is this boy thinking? He's not. Getting undone by hemorrhoids. Wild. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion. It wasn't possible. The day the mayor disappeared, from dawn until he vanished, there was no opportunity for you to contact him.
That's...
The mayor left first thing in the morning for his examination at the university hospital all by himself without telling anyone. Shion, you just said you didn't know what hospital he went to, so you couldn't have contacted the mayor until he got back. Isn't that right? His train back was delayed by an accident, and he didn't return to his house until the meeting was about to start. So there was no time for you to have told him before the meeting started either. I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say. Shion, did you go to the meeting too? Did you attend it and tell him there? If you didn't, then there wouldn't have been any time left. The mayor disappeared on his way home. Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she never gave me an immediate response.
Actually, with the meeting,
You didn't even go to your part-time job. You said you went and had that day. I'll say it more directly. You haven't been seen since we were at the library together. KG, what happened to delaying and letting her know about who you are? His poor heart can't take that plan anymore. KG's math is finally mathing.
Kei-chan, well,
Shion Sonozaki disappeared the day after Wataganashi. The other end fell silent as a grave. It was so quiet that it was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there. Oroshi-san says you've been missing. Despite that, you've been calling me every night like this, haven't you? Shion's sobs were tormenting me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything wrong. She also hasn't corrected you yet. Please, Shion. If something I said was wrong, please say so. Shion, I'm begging you. Shion, there's no way you could have seen the mayor, but if you did see him, if Shion ever did have the chance to meet with the mayor that day, then that meant then you saw him after the meeting. In other words, it could only have been right before he disappeared, or else afterwards.
lord. Yes, correct. Hey, Kate, do you want to see a magic trick? Oh my god, Mion! Well, if it isn't the consequences of my actions. Oh no! That actually got me. That 100% fucking got me. Jesus Christ. That's awful. Hit. Please take that image away. Thank you. Beep. Beep. Went the dial tone. I stood there, dazed for a while, until I realized she had hung up on me. KG, my suggestion would be to say go to Rena's house. I'd be like, hey Rena, I'm staying over tonight. That's me whenever Chibi Brady shows up. That's terrifying. Oh my god, what a fucking chapter. Tough call, yes. That's what the achievement was called, that was a tough call. I've only ever watched the anime a bunch of times, never had the chance to read it, lol. People were right about it's so much spookier. It is so much spookier. Surprise sleepover, yep, just be like, hey Rena! Girls' night, even though I'm not a girl! Chat when they see delicious chibi. No. What more information have we got from Takano's thing? The problem with twins. This is not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onagafuchi village, especially the three families, detested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship, built on the precarious balance of the three families, must have feared collapsing under the weight of eternal strife from things like family quarrels. According to the literature, if twins were born, they had to be culled. With that, the very fact that both the Sonozaki successor Mion Sonozaki and her twin sister Shion are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader Oryu is sympathetic? Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, as the heir Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My only observation of the two of them don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit a demon, and they tattoo a magnificent one onto his or her back. In accordance with the tradition, there is an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there is apparently a magnificent demon tattooed on Oryu's back as well. Then I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir Mion. I really want to see her back. Oh, lordy. Does she have that massive machete? Mion doesn't get a machete. Mion has a gun, so... Or at least her drawing always had a gun, but I don't know if she ever used it. At the Suzu Mahjong Parlor? What's happened at the Mahjong Parlor? We know that's where shit goes down. Well, gotta check her back. Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Clatter. Hey, Kuro-chan. You're the last one here. All the youngsters already here. Excuse me, miss. Oshi-san handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes to the old lady who owned the Mahjong Parlor. She shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now. Oshi-san, good work today. What, were you all earnestly waiting for me? What, were you all earnestly waiting for me? You could have just done a 3-player. Ooh, what gun? I don't know. I think it's just a gun. I don't know what kind of gun Mion has. It's just it's never seen out of its holster, so we never know. Mion's gun has long run out of bullets over the years, and it's a pain to get more.
I've heard that her gun is meant to be an airsoft gun, but I don't know how true that actually is. Considering in this they have insinuated that she has in fact murdered people in the past, I don't know if it would be a real gun or not. I think they meant Rena for the sleepover. Yeah, that be. Yes, they probably did. Rena probably still has the machete. So, if not, maybe she has that Colonel Sanders that she could hit people with. What were you all earnestly waiting for me? No. Everyone's sitting at the mahjong tables in the small parlour where Oshi-san's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid anywhere. Everyone, I'd like to thank you for your days of investigation without sleep. Thank you! Energetic responses filled the parlour. Already, it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment. The situation's not looking good. The chief appears to have backed down due to Congressman Sonozaki's threats. In the oncoming days, we'll hand off Takano's murder to the Gifu police and give the missing persons cases of the disappearances off to the mayor and the others to the community division. Imagine if Ren invited Shion / Beyond to the sleepover. Oh, that would be awful. And they are also connected to the mafia. That is also true. That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed him. All of our requests for warrants were turned down as well. We've been told by our section chief not to go anywhere near the Sonozaki house. We're certainly in a bind, that we are. Incidentally, it looks like I'll be getting orders soon to go to training at the Metropolitan Police Department starting next week. After that, I've been told to take paid vacation in Izu. Well, I suppose that ain't bad. He heard a few dry laughs. It wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do. This always happens, but incidents are a lot like clocking your keys in the car. The keys you need to unlock the door are always locked inside. For cars, you call the repairman. No. For cars, you get a coat hanger. You get a wire coat hanger. You undo the wire and then do some stuff. And then you can, like... I don't know if they've changed it. Newer cars, you might not be able to do that anymore. And I probably shouldn't be explaining how to unlock a car without a key on the stream, actually. Googled. The images seem to have her with a handgun somewhere between M1911 and Bowing High Power. Oh, she said about to get murked for spoiling the beans to KG. A week away from retirement. Setting flags. I don't know. Does Oshi-san actually ever get hit? I don't know. For instance, Kuma-chan, show the map. Komugi flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises with magnets. Now we've been doing this for a long time. I've got a lot of faith in my gut. But this could be the one time it goes wrong, no? Anyone worried about their retirement money has until the count of 10 to get out of here. Oshi began to count to 10, and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution. 9, 10. Ah, no one's leaving. None of you love your families too much. That is it. Hua, 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 hua. Everybody laughed uproariously, cheering things up. I want everyone to go over their materials, memorize the locations and blind spots of the security cameras. Kuma-chan, you'll stay in the command car. If anything happens, you'll switch with me and take over. Komiyama-kun will head up the infiltration team, and Atsushi-kun will lead Team B. Observation teams will set up at points 1 through 8. Bonchi-kun, you're responsible for keeping a strict timetable. Control your rotation so HQ doesn't get wise. Now, the team on standby has the most important job, alright? The section chief asks where I am, play dumb. Ha 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 ha.
I'll handle escorting our guests. You can be sure I'll bring them to the venue, so wait patiently, everyone. Also, in the anime, apparently she has a Norinco type 56 without a front sight. Fascinating. I wonder if he'll cave. Keiji Mayabata, that is. From what I've seen, we're set for tomorrow or the day after in that regard. It'll be easy. New foo 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 foo. Rear sight. It doesn't have a gas block front sight for the rear sight that's missing for some reason. Style? Question mark. Right, let's give this a quick save. And then I'm gonna go on a very short break. BRB. So if this is the end of chapter 11, then we're going into chapter 12, and it's the last chapter. Oh, hey, look, there's a grumpy person. Hi, Dalkin, welcome. Uncle is getting incredibly funky. Incredibly funky. Alright, place your bets. Is it Shion or Mion that went a bit loopy in the head?
I'm struggling to remember in the actual thing. Like, it's all pointing to Shion, but it could easily be Mion. Yeah. Pretty confident in saying her pistol is a Tokarev TT-33. You do remember, and the answer is wild. I remember being a little bit confused by it with the anime. I don't think I quite understood it. So I'm hoping this will help me. Help me. KG! KG! Just leave him alone. He's gone missing. His friends went missing. Must be really hard for him. Normally my dad never shows me any consideration, but this time he did. Shouldn't Keiji stay home from school for a while too? I think it would be safer not to go until the police do something about this. Maybe. Compared to what could happen, taking a few days off would be a bad idea. Anyway, how is it logical not to close school during dangerous situations? What do the teachers think? What do those teachers think our children are? Sorry, just had to check something. Mum and Dad were getting pretty riled up, but at this point I couldn't care less. Besides, that wasn't the only thing I could care less about. The breakfast table, the food in front of me, the time and date, myself, I really had no interest in anything. This feeling, it was like a dead fog in my mind. It felt like getting dizzy after taking strong medication. Keiji, how are your studies going? You've gotten further than the other kids, haven't you? If you have, then you can take a few days off, alright? I didn't even feel like answering. The day was Thursday. Now it's Friday. Only 4 days had passed since the Wataganashi festival. In such a short time, and yet, now things were completely different. Everything had changed. The tranquil village, bright and clear, as if it were an Indian summer, had undergone a total reversal. People were made to disappear every night, and we couldn't even relax when walking out in broad daylight. The village had become a world of fear. I had no right to curse this outcome. After all, the one responsible for everything was me. No, it wasn't, dum-dum. Well, actually, kind of, maybe a little bit. That night, I couldn't resist my honest, tiny little and incredibly stupid curiosity and broke the taboo. This isn't somewhere we should be going, is it? Let's not. It's a crime to force your way into a locked building, even if you don't steal anything. Shion, now that you know they weren't having some secret rendezvous, we've had enough, right? I don't want to do something like this. What if Rika-chan's dance ends while we're messing around here? I prattled on as I took the lock from Tomitake-san's hand and put it back on the door. I'll forget everything I saw here. Come on. Let's go, let's go. Takano-san was fretting, but I pushed her away. Tomitake-san grinned painfully. Shion's shoulders drooped as if to call me an idiot. Even so, I didn't care. I pushed everyone farther and farther away. Rika-chan's dance was still going on. Then, at last, her dance was brought to a close with a roaring applause. I, too, until my hands turned red, I clapped and I clapped. Oh, daydreaming about the shoulda, woulda, couldas. Ding dong. Rena? Is that Rena-chan? She's here because it's your usual meet-up time, isn't it? I looked up at the clock. It was 5 minutes past the time to meet Rena. Keiji, shouldn't you take a few days off from school? Dad's being nice. You're right. Thanks for being so considerate. I rose from my seat. I went to the entrance to greet Rena. Good morning! We're going to school as a group starting today. So you can't be late. Oh, that's right. If we, the ones farthest away, were to be late, the younger kids on the way would be waiting for us. I think I'm going to take some time off from school. Huh? Okay. Rena answered shortly, nodding. I think you should do whatever's best for you, Keiji-kun. So, you don't need to feel that you're weak or anything. Rena, you're trying to be nice, but that points out things that people don't want pointed out, bro. Oh, and here. It's a notice they're sending around. Could you give it to your mom? I think it has a lot of important announcements in it. I took the notice. There were a lot more pages than normal. The one on top announced the disappearance of the mayor, Rika-chan, and Satoko, and that they wanted any information about them. It made my heart ache. The police are looking the best they can, too. They'll find them, for sure. Just be patient, okay? I hope so, Rena. I want them to be okay. Rena said, smiling in an attempt to give me courage. Rather than that, though, her smile looked like it was because she herself wanted to believe they were safe. Rena, you're not going to question me? No. Rena, you know, don't you? About the night. About that night, what I... Do you mean when you snuck into the ritual storehouse? I was speechless for a moment, but then I bit my lip and made up my mind and nodded a little. So it's all out in the open. Really, I shouldn't do bad things like that. Mi-chan was really mad. She was so upset. I suppose she should have been. I don't think she was angry about you sneaking in there, though. As much as it was about hiding it from her. Maybe, Keiji-kun, maybe you should have told her yourself and apologized. I should have told her myself and apologized? That troubled me. Just 1 week ago, I did something that I myself should have apologized to Mion for. I hurt her badly. However, I hadn't realized it at all. Plus, with all the confusion that Shion's appearance had brought, I still hadn't been able to talk to Mion about it. Rena, you're right. I never realized anything until you tell me. Keiji-kun, hypothetically, if you had admitted you'd done something wrong right away and apologized to Mion-chan, I wonder if Rika-chan and Sadako-chan wouldn't have had to... Oh, Jesus Christ, Rena! Wouldn't have had to disappear. I couldn't answer right away. I couldn't admit to that. It wasn't Rena telling me right now, though? That I should have admitted my crime sooner? If I had done that and apologized, would things have gone in such a horrible direction? Rena's eyes were filled with kindness, but they weren't naive enough to forgive me for keeping silent. And they stared fixed on my own. Yeah, I know, what a bitch. Rena! Put your foot in your mouth. Yeah. You're right. If I admitted my crime sooner, then Rika-chan and Satoko wouldn't have had to die or disappear. Eh! The palm of Rena's hand slapped me on the cheek. I stood there unmoving, my head tilted in the direction I'd been hit. It didn't hurt at all. I don't think that anyone has scolded you, Keiji-kun. So I'll scold you in their place, okay? Goddamn. Keiji, you're weak, and also this was your fault. Yeah, I know, she's saying it kindly, but that's what she's saying.
Rena, you don't need to bring a sledgehammer to a single broken nail.
No, but she did anyway.
Going somewhere you're not allowed to was a very bad thing to do. Do you understand that? Uh-huh. Answer me with a yes. Katie could. Yes. Also, what's even worse, you didn't admit to having done something so bad. You should never do anything bad in the first place, but not admitting to it or apologizing for it is much worse. Yes, I was wrong. For a few moments, Rena stared at me silently and intently, as if gauging my remorse. Then, finally, the tension in her face softened and she smiled. Okay then, it's about time. I should be going. Alright. Be sure to give the notice to your mom, okay? Also warn her not to go out to pass it on after it gets dark. I bent down and picked up the notice, which I dropped when she slapped me. The pages had come out of the clasp and were making a mess on the floor. I gathered them up one by one. My hands stopped at a single page. A more light-hearted page with peaceful sentences dancing on it. We still have plenty of homemade soy sauce in stock. Feel free to come to the Sonozaki house if you want some. Ba ba ba! Shit! Shit! Sonozaki's! Shit! There was a chance that a funky curse that kills people that knows Rena. That's right, KG. Never do bad things. Only do good things. Yeah! How do you even explain that? She really did just walk in, insult the broken man, blame him, and leave without explanation. Yes, yes. Yes, Rena did just do that. What is this? I picked up the page and scanned the rest of it. They were stockpiling high-quality soy sauce they got from faraway relatives in the Akita prefecture. They had gotten a big shipment recently. They couldn't use it all, so they wanted anyone who wanted some to feel free to come over, is what it said. As a PS, it said it arrived in barrels, and please to bring a 2-liter bottle or other container for it. Oh my gosh! So, for those who haven't maybe been caught up on all of the parts of this, this means, so, Takano-san was stuffed into a barrel, for one, so there's your barrel. 2, Rika-chan went over to get soy sauce and she'd taken a bottle with her to get it. This was going to a household that would have more than enough food for 2 people to go because they called Satoko over afterwards as well. And it would have to be from someone that the 2 of them trust. They both trust Mion. Yeah. That's how it tied together. If you need some soy sauce, then you would go to the Sonozaki house. Rena, did you know all along? Yeah, I knew. Rena had already been suspicious of Mion. As soon as she noticed the big bottle of soy sauce was missing. Rika-chan had taken the bottle and gone to Mion's house, and there she was erased. Rika-chan wasn't coming back, so Satoko called Mion's house since she knew where she had gone, and then Satoko got called over there as well. Rena is very smart. Rena has such a big brain. That meeting on the day the mayor disappeared, didn't Oshi-san say that the 3 families participated in it? The 3 families would include the Sonozaki family. Didn't he also say that the current leader was really old, so the heir, Mion, frequently stood in for her at public appearances? While the mayor was returning home from the shrine, Mion called out and stopped him. She talked to him and invited him to their house, and then she made him disappear. It was probably even simpler to make Shion disappear. Shion was part of the Sonozaki family. They probably knew exactly what she was doing at all times. I'm sure they even knew her part-time job schedule too. Thinking back, wasn't that Angel Mort store managed by the Sonozaki family? Setting up an ambush there wouldn't have been any trouble at all. I'm going to Mion. I'll go to apologize. I'm going to. I have to put an end to everything. Mion probably won't forgive me easily, but I'll go and ask her not to sacrifice anyone else. With that decided, there was no need for me to be lazing around here anymore. I put my shoes on and slipped past Rena to exit the house. When she stopped me. I'm going too. Rena, shouldn't you go to school? This is way more important than school. Rena, you shouldn't come. If you get wrapped up in this too, then I think I might actually go crazy. Rena didn't move her arm, which was blocking my way. If Keiji-kun disappeared as well, then I think I might actually go crazy too. So I won't let you go alone. Rena argued boldly as tears welled up in her eyes. I saw them. I knew the strength of her resolve. All right, let's go. Thank you, Rena. Rena nodded slightly but firmly, and finally let down the arm blocking me. Crazy Rena versus Crazy Mion. She's not Crazy Rena though, she's soft Rena right now. Bestie Rena. Bestie Rena. Surely a coinky dink. Bottle of soy sauce. Keiji leveled up, his brain cell cooldown has decreased. Let's go to Mion's house. I'll apologize for the crimes I've committed. Then we'll put an end to these twisted days. After that, I'll pray that once more we can return to those fun, lively days. With Rena following me, I left the house. In front of the house, there was a car waiting. It was Oshi-san. Hey, good morning, Mayabata-san. You too, Ryugu-san. Together so early in the morning. You make me jealous. Ho 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 ho. Wanna take Rena home, Omochikairi? Everyone needs a Rena. We could all do with a Rena in our lives. We love Rena. Oshi-san, give me a gun. We're gonna need it. Yes, we are. What a truly praiseworthy man he was, if he had been lying in wait so early in the morning just to pressure me into talking. On this morning, though, maybe it was actually a good opportunity. You're from the police. Oh, have I not introduced myself to you, Ryugu-san? Please excuse my rudeness. My name is Oshi, from the Okunomiya Police Department. Pleased to meet you. Are we telling Oshi-san? Yeah. I think my palm is enough punishment for your crime, Keiji-kun, but we should leave Mi-chan to these people. Pain and sadness, I looked down as those emotions built up in my heart. We have something to tell you, Mr. Oshi-san. Well now, what about it? Should we stand here to talk or go inside the car? Inside the car, please. I only continued to look down weakly. All I could do was be thankful for how dependable Rena was. Yep, gotta leave traces, gotta leave notes on the back of our clocks. Wait a second. Not that that worked last time. Well, she said, give me a gun, we need it. At Rena's urging, I revealed everything to Oshi-san. The latter, while making sure to throw in murmurs that he was paying attention every now and then, took notes.
We continued that way for a while. How do you feel? Don't you feel a lot better now you've told me? Oshi-san asked this while scratching his head with his ballpoint pen. Of course, I don't feel better. The price that had been paid up until now for me not owning up to my crimes had been so immense. To give me on a booby-trapped dumpling, I'm sure it'll work this time. Plot twist, it was all uncle and cross-dress, all la la. He's been me on and she on this whole time. But as long as the payment wasn't returned, the load on my chest would never be removed. His radio started to emit static. Bzz bzz, this is Kumagami. Oshi-san, over. Yes, hello. This is Oshi. We got news a few minutes ago that she's been absent from school. No movement of the Sonozaki household. Our target is still on the premises. Good, keep a close watch on it. Roger that. The relief for 3 and 7 has arrived, and they've returned to base. Also, it looks like the division chief is looking for you, Oshi-san. He keeps bugging me to tell him as soon as I get in touch with you. What do you want me to do? If you're hard-pressed for an answer, tell him you're actually under orders not to wake me from my morning nap. Got it. Rion used her mafia connections to make the whole town and police force prank Keiji. That would be a hell of a fucking ending. Everyone's fine! Surprise! Good God. Good God. Let's give me a booby-trapped dumpling. Sorry, I keep looking over and then I'm not sure if I've read a bit of chat or not, so I'm sorry for repeatedly reading bits of chat. The radio grew silent. Sorry about that. It was about work. He just said there was no movement at the Sonozaki house, didn't he? Oh my! Did it sound like that to you? This won't do. Please keep that a secret, alright? I don't have permission from the division chief to be making private inquiries like this. Oshi-san had suspected me on for a long time. Nor for questioning witnesses or for searching houses. We don't have permission for anything, really. Just don't mind the corpses. The prank went a little too far. The Sonozaki house's defences, said to protect the family members, are also in full working condition. Without a warrant, we can't do anything about it, unless the crime happens right before us. Oshi-san, could you be... Rena's tone of voice was enough to make her spite clear as she stared at Oshi-san. You can't set foot in the Sonozaki household. Were you trying to get Keiji-kun to go there instead? Rena, what do you mean? Rena, where have you been this entire playthrough? Every time we have a scene with Rena, it's Rena going, Keiji, you're being a fucking idiot. Keiji, sweetie, this is how we deal with things. Keiji, you're a fucking idiot. You're about to raid this house, Keiji. You want it? Yeah. This person, just as I thought, he plays real dirty. Stop, you're hurting my reputation. That said, I'm all ears to your explanation, okay? Oshi-san lit a cigarette and responded to Rena, wearing an expression implying he was calm and willing to let her comment slide. You can't get a warrant, but you've always had your eyes on Mi-chan because you thought she was suspicious. Yes. You plotted to incite Keiji-kun and have him go to the Sonozaki house. Then, if something were to happen to him, you would have used that as an excuse to go in. Isn't that right? Rena just figured out the plot day one, but just wanted to watch the others, wanted to see if the others would catch up. Can't have Rena around too much, she'd solve the problem. You know though, that meme where it's like the thick book and the small book, so that's like the plot of Higurashi chapter 2. The plot of Higurashi chapter 2 if Rena was around more often. If Rena decided to share her thoughts more often. I only understood about half of what Keiji, you dumbass. I only understood about half of what Rena was saying. I knew, however, that Oshi-san had been trying to use me. Even if Keiji-kun got hurt as a result. Have you no shame? How? Is this how the police do things? My. It seems we have an incredible detective on our hands. Oh my. Would you be interested in taking our exam? Rena would make a wonderful detective. He's got a good eye. Better make that left book a lot thicker. I'd gladly write a recommendation letter for you to get into the detective division. You're despicable. Rena spoke quietly, her words dripping with hostility. I've been insulted in all kinds of ways in my life, but 1 or 2 words from a young girl is the roughest for me. Even so, I suppose I should thank you for not arresting me-chan yet. Don't mention it. Higurashi's spin-off, Special Detective Rena. Oshi-san seemed to be enjoying this exchange with Rena. The things this man thought were like a swamp. I could barely see past the surface. It reminded me again of how much I dislike him. Now then. As 2 esteemed friends of Mion Sonozaki, what do you plan on doing now? Will you wait kindly for me to go over evidence and request a warrant? No. We won't wait for that. We'll go. Make Mi-chan surrender herself. That's right. If she turned herself in rather than being arrested, she might get a lighter sentence. At this point, perhaps that was the only pity I could find in me to afford her. I see. I wonder how well that'll go. If you're careless, you 2 may face danger, you know. Oshi-san was measuring our resolve. So, in a strong voice, I declared, we're fully prepared. Oshi-san gave us an unpleasant, yet seemingly satisfied grin. It was then I realized this man was trying to use us for his own convenience. If anything should happen to us, use that as an excuse. Though my greatest hope is that you will surround the place so that the criminal can't get away. Ryugu-san, you're good at negotiating too. I'm throwing in the towel. I surrender. What are you talking about? If the policemen surround Mion's house, then that will be insurance for the worst case scenario. For the worst case. Plus, it would be another way of pressuring Mion to give herself up, wouldn't it? Oshi-Takuma-chan. Oshi-Takuma-chan. This is Kumagai. Go ahead. Our 2 friends are going to play at the Sonozaki house. Make arrangements so that we can reinforce them if needed. Surely Oshi-san will help if anything happens. Surely! He was so useful last time, obviously. To be fair, he's actually here this time. Last time it was a case of, like, he was over in town. There was no way he was going to get to Keiji on time. The spin-off of Rena just solving everything. Rena could figure out who Kira is and how the Death Note works. At least tell your parents that you're going to go to Mion's house. More alibis! Yeah! He should, but he cares not for his parents. Their altogether too short conversation implied that our questioning was already part of the plans. Then let's get going. Want to buy some tea and biscuits on the way there? Neither Rena or I went along with Oshi-san's stupid joke. I'll have tea and biscuits. That would be lovely, thank you. We're gonna risk our lives. Tea and biscuits is the least you can do. Okay. Let's go confront Mion. Maybe Mion. Maybe Shion. Oshi-san stopped the car at the place where we normally waited for Mion. Come to think of it, I've never been to Mion's house before. I've only heard that it's right around this road. British moment, yeah. Keiji's parents don't have sprites, so they aren't real. They're just part of Keiji's imagination. Oshi-san watching 2 kids about to get mauled. Would you like biscuits? This is in these trying times. This is as far as I can take you. According to our information, there's quite a few security cameras set up on the premises. Still, don't worry. I've got a bunch of youngsters ready and waiting to slip past them to go in. We'll be monitoring the inside with a one-way mic, so if you two give a loud scream, we'll know right away.
We'll persuade her for sure. So please be ready for her to turn herself in.
In both our eyes was determination. It was the only method available for us for lightening the sins of our good friend. Be plenty careful, you hear? Flawless plan. Yeah. You probably don't believe this right now, but I don't want you two being sacrificed if at all possible. You're right about that. With that rude response, we left the car. The clinging humidity and voices of the cicadas greeted us. I never have expected this would be happening today.
Let's go, Keiji-kun.
At most, Mike's one way. Yeah, I guess. I suppose maybe he meant one-way radio rather than one-way mic. Rena took the lead and began to walk down the road I'd never been. Rena, you've been to Mion's house before, right?
Yeah, a few times. It's a really big house. You could fit a mountain into their backyard, too. You can pick mushrooms and stuff, though there are fences everywhere.
Big enough to fit a mountain. That was amazing. Head pat the question. Head pats always work. One of the three families controlling Hinamizawa, the head of the family of the Sonozaki clan. Perhaps there was something to be said about its magnitude. The path continued onward, level and uneven. There were metal fences along its edges, and beyond them were woods with trees growing thickly. The fences were high. The tops of them bent inwards, sticking out like sharp spears. Plus, there was dangerous-looking barbed wire wrapped around them. No one could look at them and not feel intimidated. In addition, there were signboards hung up here and there along the fence. Private property of the Sonozaki family, entrance forbidden. Beware of venomous snakes. Active security cameras. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of is that 1,000 or a million? That's a million, isn't it? 100 million. That's a lot of yen. It's a lot of yen. This forest, or should I say mountain, is this all their yard?
It's more like their domain. As you can see, it's private property, but nobody maintains it.
More like a mountain of corpses, eh? Hey Keiji, they have a giant body dump in the back. You should have seen how high the flames got when we were last burning. The kiddie disposal grounds.
The forest isn't really the kind you can go hiking in.
She could say that again. It really did feel like a neglected savage woodland. It was dark and damp, and certainly not a forest that made you want to go for a nice walk. Maybe that's just what happens when a landowner has too much land. Like Aoshi-san said, there were security cameras hung up all over the place, though they had been weathered by wind and rain, casting doubts as to whether they were even functional. I wonder if Mion is watching us as we come to her.
I don't think she is. The only person living in Michan's house are generally her and her grandma, after all. There's nobody to watch the cameras.
That was a useless security system.
Well, Michan's father seems like a pretty tough person to get along with. So whenever everyone in the family is getting together, the cameras are apparently working properly.
That's right, Mion's father. He was a big shot Yakuza, wasn't he? Rena smoothly danced around the answer as she explained. At last, a huge gate, as big as I'd imagined, appeared. She was living by herself with her grandmother in a house with such a grand gateway. I wonder if she's here. Beep! The old buzzer made a dull sound. It was cut off in the middle and not getting to the house. We waited long enough without response for me to start thinking that. However, we finally heard footsteps walking through the gravel on the other side of the gate. I nervously balled my hands, and palms now sweating into fists. There was a clang of a bolt being released, and the gate opened slightly. The person peeking out of the gap was none other than Mion. Well, this is unusual. Aren't you two going to school? Mion didn't seem all that surprised at visitors arriving in the morning. Which wasn't a normal time. In fact, she almost seemed relaxed, as if she knew we were coming beforehand. We stayed home today. Huh. K-chan is one thing, but you too, Rena? You two are such troublemakers. Mion smiled lightly, in the way that Mion we knew always did. Well, let's not just stand here. Come in! Come inside. Welcome to the best days of your life. Nope. She gestured for us to follow her. I hesitated for a moment before looking at Rena. Let's go! Yay, into the murder house! Yes. Mion, can you give yourself up to the police for all your murders? Pretty please. Oh gosh, sorry. Rena smiled cheerfully as if she were passing through the gate of a good friend's house, and then did just that. I have a good feeling about this. Everything will be A-okay. Nothing weird will happen. I rally myself, then go through the gate too. On the other side, I hadn't been maintained very well, but it was clear that the lot was magnificently wide. It wasn't quite what you'd think when you hear mansion, but it was very clearly a vast place. And then Mion confessed and everything's okay. The end. This is the first time you've been here, Kei-chan? Yeah. This house is enormous. Steep thatched roofs aren't in fashion anymore. This place could be a tourist attraction. I want to rebuild it using totally average, boring, reinforced concrete soon. Mion dryly smiled as she said that, then closed the gate and relocked the heavy bolt. Hey Keiji and Rena, you ever wanted to try getting into a barrel? It's kind of fun. If you haven't tried it yet, maybe you should try having a bath in gasoline first too. I hear it's really good for the skin. Don't worry about it. Things have been dangerous lately. Gotta do at least this much during the daytime. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was my imagination, but I thought I saw a hint of a shadow in her smile. Well then, good sir, madame, I shall show you inside. Please come in, this way. Mion bowed to us like a worker at a high-class hotel, then pivoted on her heel and began to walk. Plot twist, it was actually Bion, a secret third sibling all along, maybe. Hey Ren, I want some soy sauce. I got a bottle prepped. Rena gripped my stiffening arm lightly. Keiji-kun, you're too tense. We came here to see Mi-chan, remember? You don't need to be that nervous. That's right. When I get nervous, I tend to let everything show in my face. Bro, you let everything show in your face 24/7. You wear your heart on your sleeve. I've never seen more of an honest boy in my life. I'll stop tensing up. Even if something were to happen, there were two of us.
Oshi-san's subordinates are waiting outside the gate too. There was nothing to worry about. After thinking about that much, I realized my nervousness was already gone, and I laughed at myself. I'm sure his heart will be on his sleeve soon enough. Chibi is small. I'm small. What's this? Mion? What's with the stone on top of the newspaper? It's in the way. There was a pile of newspapers on the floor of the entrance, and there was a large rock on top of them. I didn't understand why something like that was here. Fun fact, your enemy cannot draw their weapon if you tackle them in a hug! True. If you want, we also have some more fancy kinds of soy sauce. Only 4 barrels, though. Chibi is small. Not tasty, though. No, we don't eat chibis. No tasty chibis. Nope. Rena noticed me looking at it questioningly and giggled. Rena, do you know? What is this? Some kind of good luck charm? If you really don't know, then feel free to move it out of the way and put your shoes there. Keiji-kun, there's a nest of swallows right above that stone. Huh? Oh, you're right. This house is for people, but swallows still come in without permission and make nests. It must be like tradition for them whenever spring comes. They always make a nest here. It's kind of annoying, though. In other words, it's a sign not to take off your shoes there, because swallow poop could end up in them. That's one way to do it, I guess. Of course, Ren already knows what it is, because she's a smart cookie. We had a sign, but we killed the sign, so the chibi has a shield now. Yes, I do! Da 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 da! I couldn't help but laugh at the silly contrivance. My laughter naturally spread to the other two. A really long time ago, a Sonozaki member apparently cultivated silkworms. Or ancestors would get all worked up over exterminating the swallows. Whenever you think of it that way, maybe this is our just desserts. Well, these things aren't so serious that we can make poop jokes. The shield tastes good. No, it doesn't. It will break your teeth. I do have artillery hidden away, yes. Inside of the house wasn't very bright at all. It was dimly lit, in fact, but mysteriously I could still feel an elegance to the place. Mion seemed to want a more modern building, but traditional houses like this aren't bad either. It tastes irony. Tasty artillery. It's not tasty artillery! It'll blow you up into many, many pieces. Plot twist 2, it was Rena all along, and they just needed a way to get me on without acting sus. Da da da! Maybe. You're kidding, right? There's a terrible draft, and the winters are freezing. Don't go making my house into property of cultural significance and getting in the way of renovations, got it? What I want most is a house like yours, Kei-chan. I'm pretty jealous of it. It seems like it would be warm in the winter. Oh, but snowfall seems like it would be a problem. Snowfall's a problem? Does Hinamizawa get that much snow? Or latitude is south of Kanto, isn't it? Isn't this a region warm? Don't you know, Keiji-kun? Hinamizawa is in an area that gets heavy snowfalls. When we get a lot, everyone gets buried. Sometimes you can't even make it out of your house. Sometimes your car gets totally buried too. You can't even find where it is. I was not aware of that. Hinamizawa was that bad of a place in the winter? Come to think of it, my dad. He said something like this place got plenty of snow, so we should have fun building igloos. I bet the village is pretty in winter. Yeah, it definitely is. Plot twist 3. It was K2, Keiichi's evil twin all along. Da da da! Although, when you say K2, or Kitu, I know you're saying Kitu, K2, that reminds me of Kogias. So, was it Keiji, because Keiji have a Gias, and there's a K2 running around giving people Giases, and it was that all along? I bet the village is so pretty much. Yeah, sometimes the bodies get buried too. It's so convenient. But they get a bit preserved when they're in snow. It's annoying. Still, your front door getting buried? Not being able to find your car? That's way too much snow. The more I learn of this place, the more I hate this place. You remember from geography class, right? The western side of Japan gets cold winds from Asia. We're different from those softies protected by the mountains, nice and warm by the Pacific Ocean. I'm totally okay with being a softie and nice and warm. I hate the cold. We'll have training camp to get Keiji used to the cold this winter then. No way, no way, no way. That's not happening. I hate the cold. I hate training camps too. I hate them even more when they're put together. Plot twist 4.7. It was me. You killed them all for the polar wolf. Oh my god, the polar wolf. Reminds me of living in Jersey. Mion laughed more uproariously than she ever had, then told us she'd bring out some tea and left her seat for a moment. Still, there's a lot of fun things to do in the winter. I bet our club will be a blast then. Our club continuing activities through the winter sounds totally horrible. Like swimming in cold or marching in the snow? When did we turn into Mount Redhorn? Yeah, there are definitely a lot of punishment games for the winter season. One time, she made us have a Rio Carnival in the schoolyard while snow was falling. I see the terror of our club cared not for a reason. Cared not for season. The victor would be decided by whom could best adapt to the winter-only events. We do snowball fights, shaved ice eating contests, and treasure hunts in the snow. Wait, why is everything outside? Why can't we play tabletop games in a nice warm room while it's snowing? Whoa, Kichi-kun, if you're saying things like that, then you're gonna lose a lot this winter. Club activities sound fun with everyone. Oh, right. We are here for something. That's what I'm expecting this conversation to go. Nope, didn't mean to press that. We'll have lots of punishment games and Rena won't lose. Don't give me that how. I settles things with a chop on the head. You're having such fun. Our walls aren't very thick, so be careful not to go flying through any, okay? The paper sliding door opened and Mion returned with a pot and a complete tea set. Tea! How could she be evil? She has tea. Do you want some sesame senbei to go with that? Sorry, we don't have much in the way of bean paste or other good stuff. It's okay. We didn't really come here to drink tea anyway. And with those words, the smile disappeared from Rena's face. She did it. That one careless statement reminded us of what we had nearly been able to forget. I'd wanted to enjoy this peaceful time for a little longer, but we put an end to that with those honestly careless words. When she noticed the smile disappear from Rena's expression, Mion too changed hers. It was as if the cheerful air that was like warm spring until a moment ago had slipped through the cracks of the paper door and altogether disappeared. There was no point in regretting it now. We did not come here today to chat and enjoy ourselves. You came here to apologize.
Mion silently poured the tea. During that time, both Rena and I sat kneeling without uttering a word. Here you are. Oh, thank you for the follow, Homerants. Appreciate it. Thank you. Drink up. We couldn't even mutter a word of acknowledgement at those natural words of courtesy. There's no poison in it or anything. Do you distrust me that much? That's upsetting. Mion gave me a bitter smile at that and let her shoulders drop. It'd be sacrilege if the tea was poisoned. It would. And whoever loses has to drink a barrel of soy sauce. That'd be awful. So much salt. That's right, we came here for the murders. We did. How could she be evil? She has tea. Briny British Empire apologist. Not an Empire apologist. I know we did some terrible shit. Drink up, it's totally no. Hey, I was gonna make the joke. Enjoy the tea or be the last one you ever have. Come on, KG, you can do this. We all remained silent. We remained silent, hoping that someone else would speak up first. That was, however, the one thing we didn't want to do, and so we sat for a long time. At last, Mion scornfully opened her mouth to speak. Hey now, Kei-chan, Rena. You're the guests. Didn't you come here for something? If you don't speak up first, this old man won't know what to do. Rena and I exchanged glances. We both resigned ourselves. Rena opened her mouth to speak first, but I stopped her. Keiji-kun. It's okay. I needed to come here. Let me talk first. Okay, I understand. What would Kei-chan have to tell me? Please give me your daughter's hand in marriage, maybe? Can't do that. My little Rena and Kei-chan aren't meant for each other. Go wash your face with miso soup and try again later. Afterwards, I thought her mean remarks were Mion's own way of showing consideration. Mion had said those mean things in a totally normal voice, and it drained the tension from my shoulders. Mion, first, I have something to apologize for. You have 2 things to apologize for. You do? What for? Mion pretended that she didn't know what I was talking about, but I'd certainly gotten my point across. Well, on the night of Wataganashi, the ritual storehouse behind the shrine, I went in there. That's not the apology she wants. That's not the apology she wants, KG! KG! You still haven't apologized for the doll? And then you walked in and bought her sister one! Even if you thought it was Mion and you thought you apologized, you still haven't apologized for the doll. That's not the apology she wants. That's not the apology she wants. Oh, KG. She signed his death warrant. No, let KG cook. Let him cook. Okay, I'll let him cook. So, Mion, can you at least show us the body of my friends before you kill me too? I could see Mion's expression immediately become harder. I knew it was somewhere I wasn't supposed to go, but it was just supposed to be a little bit of exploration. We didn't mean anything by it. Even so, I still shouldn't have done it. So I apologize. I'm sorry. I would consider that more Shion's fault than KG. Exactly. I wouldn't really put the storehouse on KG at all. To display my deepest sincerity, I pressed my forehead onto the table. I'd meant it as a way of prostrating myself. I figured it wouldn't feel sincere enough if I raised my head right away, so I left it there on the table for a while. Mion didn't say anything. If this goes bad, KG's cooked. He is cooking. Stop cooking! Stop cooking! With my face down, I couldn't tell what sort of expression Mion had. Only the voices of the cicadas filled the room. Mixed with them, I could hear the sound of the clock ticking. That was all. When I started to struggle to breathe from having my head down for so long, Mion told me to stop. You got me there. I didn't expect you to pitch it to me straight. You got me on the ropes. I looked up to see Mion's face was calm, but she was smiling faintly. If you understand that even though it was only casual exploring for you, Kei-chan, that there are a lot of people who think it's no laughing matter, then it's okay. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as Romans do. It's been days since then. It may be too late, but I apologize. What I did was wrong. Please forgive me. I could feel pitiful tears welling up within me. If I had done this sooner, maybe nothing terrible would have happened. It's okay. If you know what you did was bad, then that's enough, right? Mion spoke like it was someone else's problem, and I wasn't happy about it. Mi-chan, Keiji-kun is apologizing seriously. I think maybe you should respond seriously as well. I am being serious, though. Do I not look serious to you, Rena? You don't. Rena was giving her tit for tat, and so the room's atmosphere quickly began to grow sharper. If this goes bad, really. Also, that one seems a little less pressing when you think she's killing people over the shed thing. I know, it's very logical what Keiji said for his character, but I know in my heart that that's not what Mion is that upset about. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Glances over at the Romans. Maybe don't do that. Yeah, don't always do what the Romans do. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Therefore, if you want to act like yourself, you gotta conquer the place first. Whee! I tried that. It didn't work. She was right. Even though I came here to speak from the heart like this, it felt like she hasn't been taking this seriously. Obviously, Rena isn't fond of that.
Keiji-kun, you can get up now. Let's tell her everything. That looks like what Mi-chan wants to do.
I had known it would turn out like this from the beginning. I hadn't come here prepared for that. I mustered my willpower and bit my lip. Mion, you called Rika-chan and Satoko the day before last, right? I don't remember doing so. If you have a reason to think so, could you let me hear it?
It was the evening before dinner time. Rika-chan should have come here, bringing a big bottle of soy sauce, to have you share some with her.
Mion was trying to keep from showing any reaction, but I didn't miss her eyelid twitching just a little bit. Why do you think that?
It's not hard to understand. Mi-chan, you saw it too, didn't you? Rika-chan's room.
Mion put a finger on her forehead and acted like she was thinking.
There was chilled tofu, but no soy sauce. Plus, the big bottle of soy sauce that should have been under the sink was nowhere to be found.
What? Is that why she would have come here? Mion dropped the act. You wrote it yourself on the notice, didn't you? That you'd share your soy sauce. Mion scratched her head. I heard her ever so frantically click her tongue. It was as though we found out she'd purposely given too little change to a servant. That's all I could feel from her.
Then, Mi-chan, Rika-chan, you hit her.
Rena hesitated for a moment. I could tell that she didn't want to use the word erased, and that she was struggling to find another word.
That was really supposed to be the end, wasn't it? For you, anyway.
What are you talking about?
You didn't foresee that Rika-chan would tell Satoko that she was going to your house, did you, Mi-chan? Then Satoko called. Might Rika be imposing on you? Yeah, probably just like that.
You sound just like her.
Mi-chan, you were in a bit of a bind then, because someone knew that Rika-chan had come here. So you decided to lure Satoko-chan here too.
Lure her out? Like how, I wonder? Mion prodded Rena on, as if trying to get to the good part of an interesting story. I, however, knew. I'd been watching Mion change the whole time. She was restless, twirling her fingers. She was clearly lost. She'd clearly lost her calm. Of course, it was really a slight thing, and only I, who had been watching her this whole time, would have known. Mion was panicking. What Rena was saying must have hit a bullseye.
It probably went like this. Satoko, I actually made too much dinner today, so why not come over and eat it? Rika-chan came by earlier and already ate some. Something like that.
Scratch. Mion's nails dug into her knee. There's no recordings of the phone conversations or anything, so, how'd you know that much? Rena's just a very smart cookie. Rena, slowly back away as you say this things, please. I know! Rena, you are in danger!
I know, because the dinner Satoko-chan made for the two of them was plastic wrapped in the refrigerator and hadn't been touched.
For a few moments, Mion's face was frozen in utter amazement. She looked like she couldn't believe that this person in front of her was Rena. With just that to go on? How did you even guess what we said over the phone?
It's a long explanation, so I'll get to the point. The contents of that refrigerator provided a vivid account of what you said over the phone when you lured her out.
Mion's jaw remained on the floor. That was the only way I could describe her face. That's... I had no idea I had such an incredible detective right next to me the whole time. I can't believe you'd figure out everything down to the phone conversation just from what's inside a fridge. Ren is so smart. You've got me there. You've got me. You've got me. As if a dam had burst, Mion convulsed into laughter. Her laughter, though, definitely didn't make us want to laugh as well. Mion grew tired of her dumb laughter, heaved a big sigh, and scratched her head. It almost seemed like Mion had lost a detective punishment game for the club or something, and her punishment had been decided. Hello, Homerans. How's Higurashi going? It's very tense right now. We're getting the confession out of Mion. Keiji does need to prepare the dropkick. You are correct. Smart enough to get herself into trouble. Yes, she's still a baby. She's very intelligent, but she's still a dumb baby who may be doing some dumb things. Oh, how fun it would have been if it were true.
An incredible detective? Mi-chan, you're the one who guessed what Aoshi-san told us. He called me an incredible detective too.
As soon as she heard Aoshi-san's name, Mion's eyes began to display panic, more clearly so that anyone would be able to tell. Mion, the police have suspected you for a long time now. Aoshi-san's officers have have had the house under observation so that they could break in at any time. Mion attempted to feign calm, but it looked like she was having a hard time with that. Part of her couldn't believe that the police had her surrounded, and she closely examined Rena's facial expression. However, she couldn't detect a hint of falsehood. Finally, Mion seemed to accept the fact that the police were encircling the house. Was the mayor? Mi-chan too? But Tomitake-san and Takano-yu as well? Mion didn't answer our rapid-fire questions. I could clearly see impatience in her eyes, which were still feigning calm. At last, Mion, who had been sitting there lazily, readjusted her cushions and sat herself upright. At that moment, the atmosphere in the room completely changed. Mion's expression also changed. The impatience and wonderment in her expression disappeared, and she became so solemn you would think she was about to conduct a tea ceremony. I could sense it. It was now, in this moment, Mion had ceased to be Mion, but had changed into Mion Sonozaki, the current heir of the Sonozaki household. That solemn atmosphere about her was clearly abnormal, and was entirely different from that of the Mion I knew. Now I could believe it. Now I could believe that she was the young leader who commanded the entire Sonozaki clan. Mion quietly placed both her hands on the tatami mat, and gave a beautifully elegant bow as if she were really as if this were really a tea ceremony, and named herself. We meet for the first time. I am the current heir of the Sonozaki house. My name is Mion. Mion's movements were so elegant they could cut. So elegantly they could cut, and we couldn't even answer her. All Rena and I could do was watch, baffled at her actions, which we could never imagine the normal her doing. I would like to welcome you to the Sonozaki main house today. I will greet you all in place of our leader Aryu. It seems as though you have various things you would like to ask. If I can be of any assistance, then I would like to answer without concealing anything. What? What did Mion just say? Mion said she would answer anything we asked. There was a strong light of resolve in her eyes. It's really all right if we ask anything then? I shall tell you everything I know. That's why you have come here after all. Rena and I exchanged glances. There was a mountain of things we wanted to ask Mion. However, we hesitated for a moment on what we should ask first. She disassociated? Potentially. The first question Rena gave was extremely abstract, but it was the question everybody wanted to know right now. Why? Why would you do this? That was what I wanted to ask as well. Why would you do this? That didn't only go for Rika-chan and Satoko. If it went for the mayor, Takano-san and Tomitake-san as well. No, even further back, for all these incidents that have been occurring every year. For a little while, Mion couldn't respond. Right when we realized that the question was too vague and tried to put into more concrete terms, she finally opened her mouth to speak. To answer that question will take some time. If that is acceptable, however, then I would, by all means, like you to hear it. I know, it's so tense right now, isn't it? She spoke clearly. She spoke with a clarity that a grandmother might use when telling a story from a long time ago. Do you know that Hinamizawa village used to be called Onigafuchi village? Rena nodded lightly, then shot me a glance asking if I did. I returned her nod. Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi village, yes.
I heard all about that night from Takano-san in the ritual storehouse. They firmly believed that demon blood ran through their veins and cut off all contact with the outside world. They were worshipped by those in the village at the foot of the mountains and treated like transcendents, those capable of magic. That's right. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud transcendents descended from the demons. Those in the villages at the foot of the mountains worshipped and honored them. Nevertheless, all decayed at the end of the Tokugawa era. The black ships arrived. The era of the samurai ended. The era of national isolation ended. And the tradition of worshipping Onigafuchi village quickly disappeared. Those things that linger from the past were all to be detested. That was the kind of era it became. The Meiji era began, and the name Onigafuchi village with its long history was forcibly changed to Hinamizawa village. I have heard the Meiji government strongly wished to erase the old customs. The abolition of feudal domains and the establishment of prefectures, an era had begun seeing Japan sprinting up the stairs that were beyond their means to try and reach the same level as the rest of the world. All things in the Western style were to be exalted, while all old traditional things were to be scorned. That was the sort of era it was. Our ancestors in Onigafuchi village were proud transcendents descended from demons. Onigafuchi village disappeared in a flash. At last, Japan, provoked by the great European powers colonizing countries in Asia one by one, began a policy to increase its wealth and military power so that it could stand as a global power in its own right. Conscription began, and they won war after war. After first Shin-Japanese War and the Russo-Japanese War, and until the Pacific War broke out, they recklessly climbed the staircase towards modernization. At the time, Onigafuchi village had already lost its impenetrability. The villagers, once worshipped as transcendents, were now on the receiving ends of inhuman treatment. The sacred Onigafuchi village had been groundlessly labelled as an insulated village of those afflicted with an incurable disease, a mere shadow of its former self, and stood on the precipice of an era of hardship. Now that's an interesting line that I'm not going to read any more into for anyone who doesn't have spoilers, but it's an interesting line. Thus began harsh days where one would suffer unreasonable discrimination just because people knew one was from Onigafuchi village. The children in the village at the foot of the mountain were taught not to go near Hinamizawa because filthy germs were rampant there. Children who had come into contact with children in Hinamizawa would cry and wail as their parents purified the spot where they were touched by rubbing salt on it. One of the adults said to the children that if you got lost in Hinamizawa, you would be kidnapped by demons and cut into pieces and devoured. Never ever go near the terrifying village of the man-eating demons. That's what he taught them. Another said that during a famine long ago, the people of Hinamizawa gathered up all the corpses they discarded into the dry riverbeds, then cooked and ate them in order to survive. Groundless stories, but said in such seriousness. Baseless slander added to baseless slander, making Onigafuchi village's historically accurate, thrilling story all the more believable. Perhaps the chain of undue discrimination was a manifestation of the people's anxiety towards the uncertain times. Of course, the story didn't end with the perspective of children. If anyone found out you were from Onigafuchi village, you would be turned down from any job you applied for. People would even go back on engagements and marriage proposals. As for the marriages, where one partner lied about it as soon as the truth got out, they were made to divorce. It even caused trials. They would appeal that where one came from wasn't an important enough reason to divorce. They would, however, lose their case. Lying about one's birthplace apparently constitutes a heavy act of misrepresentation in a marriage. That's terrible. I've heard about such discrimination towards those in small villages in civics class. Just because others knew you were from a tiny hamlet, you would be subjected to every societal disadvantage there was, a modern form of bullying. Though I only memorized that because it was going to be on the test one time. What's this got to do with murder? I really don't know. I recalled being suspicious about it and unable to believe such discrimination occurred in modern Japan. Well, I suppose I can't say that they weren't asking for it. Our ancestors were proud of the demon blood flowing through them. They lived their lives boasting about it and scorning those at the foot of the mountain after all. They struck fear into the villages down there with their mystique and demanded gifts of dread and tribute. With that, Mion smiled for the first time, albeit in self-mockery. During the specific war, despite the slogans that all the country was acting as one, those from Hinamizawa continued to suffer all manner of discrimination. There were too many ways to count. They would send their husbands and sons to war, and the women on the home front would suffer greatly too. My grandmother remembers it well. She remembers it being a difficult time. Even that bitterly long war, however, finally ended in 1945. Hinamizawa had lost many male hands, but at last their fathers and husbands and sons had returned to them. Of course, there were also many who didn't come back. Nevertheless, for those in Hinamizawa, those who were at their limits, barely able to maintain the village without the men, returned to a very happy thing. MacArthur's GHQ set to work on drastically improving mindsets and strove for the abolition of unfair discrimination. They could feel day breaking on the dismissal night. That was the previous era. Hinamizawa was on the verge of turning into a ghost town. Those in the village started to say that they should rebuild once again, and got to work trying to make the village a little more plentiful. During that time, someone appeared who built a fortune through a vast number of dealings in the black market. That was Mion's grandfather, the husband of the elderly current family leader, Sohei Sonozaki. Sohei said that he managed food warehouses in Harbin after being dispatched to the Chinese mainland. When it was time to pull out, he conspired with his superiors and comrades and stole a great deal of the army's canned goods. He hid them somewhere in the Seto Inland Sea and sold them widely at high price on the black market, thus earning him a fortune. Sohei didn't spend that fortune for his own pleasure, either. He entrusted his entire amount to his wife, the head of the Sonozaki household. Let's review this ruined village. All who lived here are our family, and this fortune is our collective property. So he proclaimed to my grandmother, the current head of the family. That vast fortune was a huge reason why Hinamizawa was revitalized after the war. I see. With that, Hinamizawa came back to life, and that's how the Sonozaki family had established its current prosperity. Of course, there were many people who begrudged the money coming from the black market, but the villagers no longer minded it. They succeeded at one business venture after another. Those who had succeeded freely supported those who had followed them. The giant family of Hinamizawa, tied together with strong bonds, kept on expanding its fortune.
the Sonozaki family at the center of everything, would be extolled for a long time as the minds behind Hinamizuwa's revitalization. The person at the middle was your nana, Mi-chan. Thanks for the history, Ivan. So the murder's now. Yeah, it feels like padding, doesn't it? By the way, here's a lot of backstory that we don't care that much about. That's amazing! What a great success! Mion looked like she was honestly happy Rena had praised her. However, around 1955, the wind started blowing in another direction again, because of the canned flesh incident. Canned flesh. It sounded so hideous that just hearing it made me nauseous. Someone naming himself as my grandfather Sohei Sonozaki's superior confessed that those canned goods had been human flesh. Hinamizuwa, a village in which demons lived and ate humans. They were just about to wipe away that cursed stigma. In light, they had finally started to see in the peaceful lives grew hazy and dissipated. The shocking truth, as revealed by his former superior, the stolen provisions from the old Japanese army that had been a huge cornerstone for Hinamizuwa's revival, had been canned human flesh. Why were there cans like that? Wasn't Sohei just the manager of a food warehouse? His superior revealed that Sohei Sonozaki did not have the job of managing food. In reality, Sohei's job during the war had been to exterminate pestilent mice and transport the corpses of those with infectious diseases. It had been unfair treatment, and all because of the lowliness of his origins. As a result, he had returned safely without having been sent to the front lines or being detained, because that was the only fortunate thing that happened to him. Finally, Sohei was enlisted as an assistant at the military medical institution. There, however, he found something even worse than low, scorned, depressing customs of Onigafuchi village in the research they were carrying out. Could that have been, well, you know, the bacteriological corpse in the old Japanese army or whatever? Katie-kun, you've heard of that? What could that be? I was pretty sure it was Unit 731. It was a nightmare unit that devoted itself to researching terrifying bacteriological weapons to break the deadlock in the war. They used many innocent people as fodder for horrible human experiments. They methodically observed how many days a new strain would take to kill victims. How many days it would be when injected. How many days it would be when swallowed. They dissected many people to find out. Sometimes they wouldn't even bother waiting until they were dead and dissected them while they were still alive. They would strap them to centrifuges while still alive and crush them in decompression chambers while still alive. When a live human decompresses, all the holes in their body get pushed outwards, and their intestines get pushed out of their anus like a snake winding out of it. I know. I'm being glared at because we're past the 3-hour mark. I have a feeling it's already a documentary one time. I need to end the stream. Apologies, guys. I'm being glared at to end because it's time. The boy is home, and it's date night. Ever heard of prion disease? Maybe that's why everyone in this village is a bit wacko. Who knows? But yes, thank you everyone for coming! Thank you everyone who lurked. Thank you everyone in the chat. And thank you to anyone who watches the VOD. I really appreciate coming. Let's make sure we save this. So we most definitely only have one stream left of this now. I was hoping if I just kind of kept going, we might be able to get through it more. But, oh well. One more stream. After a lot of, as you said, I think this stuff is important to know, but it just yeah, I think after the tension we had, it's kind of a bit of a, it's been annoying to have now, really. I don't like it. But, oh well, we'll still get to the good stuff. It'll be fine. If you have not already, I would highly appreciate it if you're on YouTube. If you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. We are 55 subscribers away from 5K, which is crazy. And if you have not already on Twitch, if you would give the channel a follow, that would be lovely. If you would like to support your local VTuber, not local VTuber, in her wanting to basically do this for a living and not have to do a job, because that would be lovely if I could do that. There are many ways in which you can do this. You can get YouTube membership, where you can get emotes, exclusive streams, Discord channel, and merch discounts. You have the Patreon, where you can get short stories, exclusive streams, merch discounts, and free books. You have the Kofi, where you can just throw money at me, or you can get tiny short story audiobooks from the shop there. And then there's the merch store on my website, where you can get ebooks, first edition copies of my books, audiobooks, keyrings, t-shirts, a notebook, a soft pillow, and a chibi stickers. Yeah. Should have been in the notes instead. Yeah, I think it should have been too. But we'll find out about the Mardars next time. For now, we leave them having an awkward history lesson in Mion's front room. I will be back on Sunday, and we will be reading some Pride and Prejudice. I'll see you guys then. But for now, I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Brandon Westmith, Life and the Forbidden Library. Goodbye.